get this live feed going. See if I can. Hello, everybody. Hopefully, I'm trying to, there we go. I'm trying to find where I should put this on live for Facebook. And I think we're good to go. It's coming up right now. Well, welcome anyone that's on here with us right now, but give me 1 minute here to make sure that we're live to the world and not just through Zoom. Wow. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Hi, Scott.
Hey, Dan.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting to see if Facebook actually will pick it up right here.
It says on my screen right now, it says webinar is now streaming live on Facebook. So we're hoping that's
There we go. Great. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Let me mute my phone because I wanted to check to make sure it's working. Great. So Scott Oser, I want to just introduce you, but introduce myself first. I'm Dan Ratner. I'm the membership strategist at the Next Steps LLC, which is a consultancy working with associations, other businesses, nonprofits, for-profits, any business that's working on membership, has membership as its business model. We try to help them out where we can. And Scott Oser is let's see, Scott. I think you're like a membership sales and marketing guru, or really association expert. How would you describe yourself?
Well, I would say I am an association professional at heart. I've been in the association space for just about 25 years, but my main focus, as you just perfectly nailed, is membership, marketing, and sales. So I was just thinking, as you introduced kind of what you do, one of the things that I think is cool that you and I are working together is that we compete on stuff. But you know what? Even though we do some of the same stuff, we can still be friends. We can still share thoughts, ideas, and get along and help the industry be better and be more successful. So I think that's awesome for everybody to know that just because we compete doesn't mean we have to really be competitors.
I completely agree. And really, what we're both trying to do is make sure that these organizations are growing and making sure that they hear the best practice that's going out there, what we've learned over the years. I've been in it about the same amount of time. I think we entered the association world around the same time. Mine was 94. I think we're 96, right around there. So yeah, we've been in it, and different organizations, different roles, and just different experiences. So why not learn from both?
I agree completely.
So we're going to talk about membership recruitment today, and I call these meetings, these impromptu, casual meetings that we have, the meetings of membership minds, and hopefully we get some other minds on the line from Facebook or anyone that logged into the Zoom meeting here, that they chime in and give us some feedback and what's working for them. Or what challenges they're into, or having to deal with. So, membership recruitment is always like top of the list for everyone. As far as okay, if we wanted to grow membership, well, we just need to do better at recruiting members. We need new members. I like to look at it from more the retention side and really working on the effectiveness and efficiency of membership programs, improving those, and hopefully looking also at the value proposition, trying to make sure that is strong enough to really go out there and recruit new members. But when it comes time, I guess one of the things that drives me crazy, Scott, is that when I'm working with association leaders, whether I was employed there or working with them as a client, a lot of them come in and just say, look, we just need like 200 new members by next month. What can we do to make that happen? Or, they hear from their board, okay, this year we want 10,000 new members. Okay, well, in past years, usually it's around, maybe they get 400 to 500 new members. So, the expectations, I think, are a little off.
Yeah, well, I think that you brought up an interesting point, and it's always, considering we've done this twice now, this is number 2,
right?
We sort of put a topic out there, right? And then we digress a little bit, but I think it's important stuff. So, one of the things that I think that you brought up, which is very, very important, is how does membership fit in your strategy. It's not just about recruitment, right? It's not just about, hey, give us 10,000 new members or 500 new members or whatever, because when you are doing recruitment, a lot of variables come into play. What is your price? What is your offer? What are your segments you're going after? And the reality of the situation, to me is anyways, that you're not recruiting to fill a hole in your budget. You're recruiting for a purpose. You have members for a purpose. So is that purpose, like you could say, and I'm just going to go huge, I worked there years ago, but you want to use the AARP model where your dues are going to be very low because you want volume. You want a lot of members. You want members for political clout. You want members for advocacy clout. You want members because the more members you can bring in at a low price, the more money they're going to spend on other things that you do.
Right.
But somebody somewhere made that decision, right? It wasn't just, oh, hey, wait a minute. You know, we've got all these programs. We've got all these services. We've got committees. We've got whatever. And that's going to cost $1 million for us to provide. Uh-oh. We've only got $900,000 of revenue coming in. So we need to bring in more members so that we can fill that $100,000 gap.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. So but any recruitment you do, and retention, I agree with you, is actually more important than recruitment because that's your lifeblood forever. That's what's going to help you sustain your membership and your organization.
Exactly.
But any recruitment you do, it needs to be thought about in advance. It's not just, all right, cool, I'm going to do a direct response campaign in whatever format, and we can talk about formats as we get into this. It's not about, regardless of what format it is, but why? Right. And what is your goal and what is the strategy behind it? That's really the key. So you need to start there. It can't just be, cool, we're going to recruit members and I need 5,000 of them. Well, why? What is the value of them? What is the cost to bring them in? What is the strategy behind that?
Right. Yeah. And I think you're getting to a few topics. I'm making notes because I don't want to forget for us to, look at them again. We go off on tangents, but, and if anyone else wants to comment, please use the comment field in Facebook or, if you're on Zoom, there's a chat function there. But I think, I mentioned, the board wants 10,000 new members. Well, I usually confront them about that and say, well, then are we willing to lower our dues, like you're talking about with AARP, lower our dues to bring in more volume? It may actually hurt our dues revenue, but we're going to bring in the counts that you're asking for. Is that what you want? And then they were like, well, hold it. That's not exactly, and it's always that argument. I think we mentioned it last time we were talking about it, counts versus dues. Which do you want? You really can't have both, but of course, when you ask, they're always going to say, yeah, we want both. And so it's that balance. So because, a lot of organizations, again, they take the book, The End of Membership as We Know It really seriously, as far as that title, and say, why don't we just make membership free and then, sell all those free members on non-dues stuff and make money that way? Well, yeah, you can get a ton of new members that way, but really, what value is it to them, or, is it really accomplishing, like you said, what's the purpose? What are they accomplishing by doing something like that?
Yeah, and I think the tangent again a little bit, it really is, the strategy is one piece, but understanding your audience is another piece of that strategy. Mm-hmm. So what kind of testing can you do? What kind of analysis can you do where, let's say you were to go to a free model and you bring in a zillion people because they're going to bring in a bunch of non-dues revenue. Awesome. But how do you know that? I think that's another topic that you and I can talk about another day, but how do you find that information? Because that's a big leap. It really is. And I think you and I both have experienced and we've read on Collaborate and other listservs and things that we're on. Mm-hmm. You get these questions from time to time. There was just one, I think about a week ago on Collaborate. It wasn't about membership in particular, but it was, hey, I launched a free program. Now we need to start charging people. What do we do? Going from free to paid is very challenging. I mean, even if you announce it up front that it's going to be paid at some point, come in at this early time and we're going to gift this to you. But that is not an easy thing to accomplish. And so you need to have that knowledge, or at least some knowledge as to what that potential is, or what is really going to happen as much as you can. I know that's not an easy thing to do, getting people to actually voice their opinions, or I don't even want to say statistically valid, but a legitimate enough sample to tell you what's going on. So you're basing it on actual knowledge and information as opposed to just gut. It's going to be important.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times when that was brought up to me in a few instances where it's like, why don't we just offer this free? And I usually would just say, okay, let's pilot. I love that word, pilot, this and check it out before we throw it out to the world, and then, need to change it in some way, or, even if it's low dues and then we find out that we're losing a ton of money, then we have to, up the dues by 3 times or something. You got to be careful about, what you introduce out there. Because, again, the horse is out of the barn, however you say, the toothpaste is out of the tube. There's not much you can do to go back.
Yeah, I think you brought up a really important thing, that associations and some for-profits probably are not great. They don't always go to pilots first, right? I think pilots can be huge, because it's a launch, no launch kind of discussion that you often have. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's more, it could also be from a recruitment perspective, from lots of other perspectives. But since we're trying to focus on recruitment today, we're not doing great at that, but we're trying. It really is. What could you pilot? What could you try? What could you test, so that you get the information that you need, so that you can see if it's viable before you go all out, right? It's like, once it's out, you're exactly right. Once it's out, it's out.
Yeah.
And so if you can learn while you're testing, while you're piloting, that's huge. But many of the associations that I work with and have worked for, that thought of a pilot program is very, very unique. You hear conversations all the time. And it's interesting to me that you don't often hear people say, and it's more now, I think, but you don't often hear, yeah, we launched a pilot program for that, or we tried it in a segment or in a unique area or something. So we limit our exposure, but we learn at the same time.
Okay. So let me throw out a word here that will kind of get us back on track with recruitment too. And you're alluding to it here is urgency. There's this urgency to get it out there and launch something and get something happening. The world is moving very fast, and technology is especially. So, there's that urgency, but you can also use urgency in the fact that, a lot of us membership professionals are confronted by leaders and saying, I need something to happen now. We need to do some type of huge recruitment campaign now to get in new members. And then there's the urgency related to, how do you actually get people to respond to what you're putting out there and create the urgency to get them to actually join. So, go ahead and vamp on any of those.
Well, I think let's start, since we did say we were going to talk about recruitment, let's start about urgency and offers.
Okay.
I think that is crucial. That is critical. You can't just put something out there that says join, right? Without any sort of something. I guess you can if you're in a very unique situation, because I don't want to sort of blanket everybody, right? Because there are these unique situations where it's an industry that's growing like crazy, or it's a profession that's growing like crazy, and the association just basically raises their hand, puts up a website, puts up a shingle, and all the people join, right? But how many of us does that happen to? Very, very, very few. But it does happen. So I don't want to say nobody can get away with it, because there is going to be a unique exception. But otherwise, you need to give people a reason to join. You need a concentrated effort. You need to recruit all year long. But for most of us who have limited resources, you need to nail down a few times, or as many times as you can, where you're doing a focused recruitment push. Whether that be something as, hey, we go to a lot of conferences, and so we're going to have special offers at those conferences that only last for 2 weeks after the conference.
Right.
Whatever that means, or it's a big direct mailing. I do believe that direct mail still works. Is it email? What is it? It doesn't really matter what your format is, what your tactic is. It's making sure that it happens all the time. If you need to limit it because of resources, limit it. But even so, it can't just be an open-ended, hey, join us whenever you want. Yeah, your website is going to be open for business 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. If people want to join, sure. Could you do pop-up special offers on there? Yeah, figure it out. But otherwise, if you're doing what I really call sort of more direct response, proactive outreach, you need to have an end. It can't just be, hey, we sent you this mailing, we sent you an email, so please join us sometime in the future.
Right.
It works. So that's the urgency that I think is very, very important.
Right. And it's just best practice in putting the limited time offer, the deadlines, expiration dates on coupon, whatever it is, that's kind of ingrained in any marketing and promotions that you're going to be doing. Like you said, you just don't put it out there and just say, well, hopefully they'll join whenever, and and you know, the offer is then lingering out there if there is any offer. But and I'm sure we all can probably be, you know, schooled in all of this, and for the next week or so when we hit Black Friday and and the you know, Small Business Saturday and, you know, Giving Tuesday, all these things are coming up, and there are going to be deadlines and urgency related to that. I guess that just because they're calling it a day, you know, that's their urgency, that everything has to happen on Black Friday. But these stores, you know, they're basically, you're saying, hey, you get it on Black Friday and only on Black Friday, and, you know, you're not going to get that offer any other time. So it's really a great lesson to all of us to kind of look at, see how they do it.
Yeah, I think you bring up another important point, which is we all get bombarded with marketing messages all day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
But as people that do marketing and membership, it's important for us to be aware of what's going on around us. Because I mean, it's crazy. I don't want to spend too much time on this whole Black Friday thing, but it's, you know, I'm getting offers now through my email, mostly through sites that I've registered for, so I get all their information, that it's get your Black Friday deal now, you know, or get a special pre-Black Friday deal. What are they doing? They're getting my money in their pocket as soon as they possibly can, without me having to wake up on Friday morning, next Friday, you know, a week from Friday, and do it all there when it's crazy. They're getting my money in now. And why that's not totally applicable to what we do with membership, but for some organizations, maybe it is. You know, why wouldn't an association do a big giant recruitment campaign on Black Friday?
Right. Well, again, again, very good point. And, you know, getting it now versus then. Well, really, what they're doing is they're kind of ruling, or just kind of taking out the whole scenario of having to deal with competing with attention. You know, the whole point here is that everything's going to happen on Black Friday. Who's going to get their attention? Who's going to get that sale of that one item that's a commodity all over the place? You know, they want to get it now and, you know, lock you in, and then you don't have to worry, you know, they don't have to worry about you anymore because they've already taken care of it. And so it is this competition for just attention, you know, on a daily basis, not just on Black Friday.
Yeah, I know this isn't applicable to most associations, but the other thing is, by getting you to order now, is it's not just getting you to order and then putting you to the side. It's getting you to order and then upselling you later. All right, well, you bought that, so, you know, did you forget anybody? I'm sure you forgot somebody on your list. So now here's some other things that you can buy. And so it's just, it's tailoring their pitch to you, but it's also, if they can get the money in sooner, then that's awesome, because anytime we get money in sooner, it's better.
Yeah, but for membership professionals, that is, you know, we completely understand the fact that once you get a member in, they're your best customer. So yes, you know, your best marketing goes to them, you know, to try to get, you know, all that non-dues, you know, activity to happen.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, you know, again, talking about urgency, what kind of, you know, talk to me about like what offers maybe that you have been using, or you found it effective out there for things. You know, I've always kind of, one of the defaults for me is let's try the 15 months for 12 months type of thing, you know, as far as an offer, just to see what happens. And usually it pulls pretty good, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think that I'm going to give you a sort of a broad bucket answer to that. And I think that what you need to do is provide value based on what the focus of your association is. So, you know, you and I probably remember, some people who are on this probably don't remember, but, you know, you used to be able to subscribe to Sports Illustrated and get a football flip phone.
Oh, yeah, right? Absolutely.
Sort of tied to what Sports Illustrated is, because it's at least sports related. Yeah. But basically what it is, it's a logoed item. Mm-hmm. And so you know, by offering somebody a tchotchke or a Starbucks gift card or something like that, are they really joining your association because they want the value that they're going to get out of the association? Right. Or is it going to put you into a loop where, and I've always been taught that renew them the way you got them, right? So if you get them have them join using some sort of a tchotchke or an unrelated, awesome, cool thing.
Right.
When they join, what are you going to do on renewal? Do you then have to do that again? Or hopefully you've proven the value to them. But what if you haven't? Because that may be the trigger for them. The trigger may be they made an unbelievable offer to me. I got a $50 Starbucks card, or whatever it might be, Amazon gift card, whatever, throw the thing out there, but it's not related to your business. I always feel that you want to offer them something that is related to the value of the association, whether it be a summary of a resource report that you did, a white paper that they can only get by doing this, giving them free access to 3 webinars that they would not get as a member, or they would have to pay for when they join. And then I do like 15 for 12 and 13 for 12 and those kind of things, because from that perspective, having them get more exposure to your membership, more exposure to your benefits, you're actually increasing the likelihood of them renewing.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I've done those type of campaigns where it's like, what do these people, what do our people, not all people, but our people really need and want, from us? And what do our current members find as, the most valuable, benefit or most valuable offering that we've had? Or maybe it's the hottest selling non-dues, type of thing. What can we do with that we can offer out there to bring in prospects to, convert into members? And white papers, research, those type of things. It's like, it's behind the firewall, but you can get it just by, joining, or we're whatever it is, we can provide it as an incentive. And I completely agree with what you're saying also. I really like that, you said it also, is that you renew how you've got them. The renewal needs to match how you got them. And these incentives do get out of hand. And there is this expectation that they have. And there's even some savvy members out there. They are barraged with all this marketing. They're starting to understand it very well. Not like back in the day where you can send out stuff and they just bite onto anything. Watch the infomercials from back then. But they are pretty savvy. They'll drop their membership long enough to get back in and get a new incentive, and not renew, but then come back as a former member or reinstatement, just a few months later, and know that they can get what they are looking for. So it's I try to stay away from those incentives as well, because it's just kind of a short-term fix that doesn't really make a huge difference.
And one of the other things that I have seen working lately, it depends on your technological resources, as what we want to do, because I'm going to beat this like a dead horse probably by the time we're done, but for efficiency, we need to maximize the use of our resources. And I had a conversation with one of my clients the other day, and we do win back and recruitment, and he's like, how about if we do, and it was a physical piece, right? He wanted to fulfill a physical piece. If you joined, you would get I can't even remember exactly what it was, but it was something related to the industry. So we checked that box, which was awesome. Yeah. But it was something that they were going to have to fulfill. Mm-hmm. So they would get the memberships in, process the payments, and then they were going to have to, I would not allow them to just send it out, just the product with no letter, no nothing. So they'd have to print a letter, take whatever this thing was, and then mail it to the new members. And I said to them, I'm like, hey, there's no way you guys are going to do this. You've got limited resources. Let's say 300 members come in. You're not stuffing and mailing 300 packages. You guys aren't doing it. Or by the time you do it, it's going to lose its impact anyways. Right. So what I've been seeing work is digital delivery.
Yes.
A PDF of something where if you have the technology to do it, the order comes in, the payment gets processed on the spot, and then the PDF gets emailed like in the thank you letter or the welcome letter or something like that. So you just link to it, and that way it really is cheap for the association. There's no time, there's no money spent. It's just delivering it digitally, but it still has that value.
Do you think it still has the full value there? So for instance, I'm kind of rhetorical, but for instance, back when I worked with a large organization, one that you probably know who I'm talking about, but we did the magazine was the really huge value, that a lot of people thought they had subscriptions when they actually have memberships. It's one of those things where they knew us for the subscription. And so I leveraged that as much as I could. But one of the things that we did, we created a best of each volume. And then we take that best of and we offer it as an incentive for joining, is that we'll send you this, as once you join, so you can kind of get caught up on the best stuff that we've had in the past year that you missed. And that worked really well as far as an incentive to get folks to join. But yeah, we had to mail out this, this publication basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we felt there was any urgency to get it out right away back then. But these days, yeah, everyone's immediate gratification, everything, Amazon, same day, everyone has that expectation. So, the digital, I kind of wonder whether people see, an ebook as valuable as, that tangible book that they get in the mail.
I think you brought up an interesting point, which is that you knew what the audience was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that's the key. So
Well, that's the value.
we all, to me, a lot of marketing and a lot of what we do from a membership recruitment and retention perspective is prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we find that the time spent to print and mail a compendium of the best of
Mm-hmm.
is effective, and it means that it's more effective than something else that we might be doing with that same time and same money, then do it. Right?
Yeah.
It's not, in some ways, to me, it's not rocket science. It's, okay, do I want to go out and buy a brand new car and realize that may mean that I'm eating cheap fast food for the next couple of months?
Mm-hmm.
If that's a priority to me, then sure. But we have to make those choices. It's about making the choices that are going to be most effective for your organization, not just what's easy for your association. So if the print is what generates response, if the print is what's effective, then do it. But you've got to stop doing something else, or you won't be able to do something else.
Yeah, and here's an idea for anyone out there, and I found it to be very effective. One of the things we used to do back then as well in this organization was we had an index of articles for the last 3 years that was printed out on a 11 by 17 folded type of thing. And I actually used that for recruitment, where we'd send that out and show people, well, this is what's available to you if you join. And they'll go through that, and you have check boxes next to them, and they can check off, oh my gosh, there's 20 articles I need to read here, and they're all behind the firewall at this organization. I really need to join just to get access to these. And so it kind of proves to them the value that you will get once you join. And it's a great way, and it's print. But it's, they could do a search. There's no problem. You can go on and do a search on the website, but I've put it in front of them for them. I've compiled it for them. And that's where that's where I think it's really effective, that you show that value in a tangible way. And you can send that out as a PDF too. It doesn't have to be print, but for direct mail, it was really effective.
Yeah, and it goes back to, again, showing them the value of the organization and teasing them a little bit with it, right?
Yeah.
Here's what we want you to become a member. So we're going to give you a taste of what it's like to be a member, but we're not going to give you the whole thing.
Right.
And therefore, once you don't have that access anymore, or once we give you that little bit, I'm sure that we've all done, and you've done this, Dan, as well. I shouldn't say we've all, but put a little teaser out there on your website. They click on the link to get the full article, and what do? They bonk. I'm sorry, that's behind the wall.
Yep.
You can't do that. And if you have the technology to do it, maybe then you do offer them something special. Hey, sorry, you can't get to that full article right now, but if you join today or whatever, we're going to give you 15% off. I shouldn't have even said that, because I don't like discounts, but we're going to give you 15 months for the price of 12, or we're going to give you an extra month for free, or we're going to whatever it might be.
Right.
Do those kind of things, but there is value. And this is when there becomes sometimes a mission versus marketing battle. Who are you really serving? If you want to get all the information out there for free, because that's your mission, it's challenging to use that tactic, right? Because how do you put some stuff behind a wall when your goal is to help the entire industry or the entire world, or however you're going to define it?
Right.
But if that is not your challenge, limiting people's access to stuff and teasing them is a huge recruitment tactic that you can use, and can be very successful.
And with the technologies these days, it's very easy to be able to trigger emails or messages or landing pages off of just those clicks, or, just the views that they're, going off of. So, back then it was very manual. Right now, you can really build a system that will, constantly hit them with different, items that are related to that topic that they were trying to get access to, so. And we just have a few more minutes here. And I think this mission versus marketing, I put that down as we'll probably have an entire series on that one because I really, there's a whole lot that we could talk about there. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about like free trials or just trial memberships in general, as far as, a tactic for recruiting members?
I am not a big fan because as we started this conversation with, I feel that getting people to pay full price after they've gotten something for free is very challenging.
Okay.
I think that sort of an asterisk to that is if you can do a free trial and get a credit card in advance and say that they're going to be charged for full membership once the trial expires, sort of do what for-profits do, that's a different story. But if you're doing what most associations do, which is just sign up and then we're going to send you an invoice or we're going to contact you and try and get you to join after that, based on the hope we have that you will find enough value that you will want to remain a member, I think that your time can be better spent other places.
I agree with that. And get kind of the payment, information up front. That's the only way to do it. I wouldn't try to, go through the free trial, then ask them for some type of payment without anything like that. I know some of them will trigger a payment after 3 months, regardless of what, even without any communications. And that's bad. You want to make sure that you don't, seem like you're scamming someone. I know that, and bill me option is always, a little stronger. At least when they check the box for a bill me, at least they feel some obligation that they know they're going to get billed for this, and obviously they can cancel without, paying, but that's a little stronger in that way. And there was one other point I wanted to make as far as, the point I want to make really is that do not go into a free trial, marketing campaign or recruitment campaign unless you have some really good value to show them, like right away in those first 3 months or whatever the trial is. Not just barrage them with all this stuff on an onboarding process for the first 30 days. They get a ton of stuff sent to them, or not that. There better be some really good value for them to really access and see and know that that's going to really tie them into the organization, or it's something engaging, something that will really get them and hold them beyond that trial period. It's just something that you kind of need to prepare for, because it's not something you just let's try a free trial. Well, is our value strong enough to really convince these folks that they need to pay beyond the free trial?
Well, just sort of, and I know we're about in closing, but I think one of the other things that you hinted at a little bit, and we're talking about this in membership, we're talking about this in marketing more and more. What is their why, right? You think about it, if someone joins for a 12-month membership, you've got 12 months to explain to them how you're meeting their why. If you do a 60-day or a 90-day trial, you really got to nail their why from day one.
Right.
And if you're not, they're out of there. Why are they going to pay you? They're not going to. So I'm not saying it's great. It's the best business tactic in the world, because you should want to hit their why from day one, whether they're in there for a year or they're in there for 3 months. But the reality is most associations are not going to hit it day one, but at least you have, let's say, even if you start renewals 3 months before they expire, you do have 9 months to prove that you know their why and you can hit their why. Otherwise, in 90 days, when you're trying to get them, when you're really trying to get them to pay, let's say 15 days, 30 days before then, if you don't have a credit card on file, you've got 60 days or less to prove to them that they should actually pay you money. And that's not going to be an easy situation.
Yeah. And, I like the way that you say it. What is their why? I think back in our old school days, it was, what's in it for me. I think they're starting to realize that it's really not about the stuff. It's, what are you really going to do for me to meet my needs and help me in what I'm trying to accomplish. And that's where you're getting, what is their why? Why should I join?
Yeah, exactly. And why should I renew? I mean, joining
Right.
is one piece, but it's why should I renew? That's
Well,
really for all of us, because again, your lifeblood is going to be your retention. It's going to be your
right.
renewal. It's why should I renew? That's really what you want to nail.
Yeah.
You got
And
to get them in the door first, but
that boils down to that value proposition and whether that membership experience and whether they're engaged and, whether it's really relevant to their, I mean, that gets down to, and, if they're going to renew, if all of that kind of is met for them. That's, it's not another recruitment campaign,
right. It shouldn't be. Sometimes I feel like it is, but it really shouldn't be.
Yeah. They should look forward to renewing.
Yeah.
That's what, if you're delivered on the value. So, well, Scott, thanks again. The half hour goes by quickly, obviously, and I've got about 5 more topics that we're going to talk about for even longer. But I really appreciate you doing this, and I hope that we can do it more often, and maybe get some other folks involved to have these discussions, because I find it valuable, and I think putting out the recording and everything, hopefully it will help others find some value in it too. So thanks a lot. Appreciate you doing this. Having our meeting of the membership minds.
My pleasure. I'm glad to do it. Hopefully it's beneficial to everybody, and everybody who's watching this, please spread the word and let everybody know that they can come to expect more of these.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks again, and have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Dan. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Scott. Bye.
Bye.